Okay? Because no matter what I did, I had a motion in limine put on me. And that motion in limine, there's only one thing I could say. Was I or was I not there? Everything else was irrelevant and confusing to the jury. Yes, ma'am.
Spell it, limine.
Limine, L-I-M-I-N-E. Okay. And then there's a little article here about international law and the unification of private law and the Pope and Rome and all of that. Okay, the Uniform Commercial Code is a system of codes and rules governing commerce. And by governing commerce, I mean that everything that we do on a day-to-day basis is some way affected in the UCC, or at least the guidelines are of it. Now, really, in the past, the only people that have really dealt with UCC are typically farmers, equipment dealers, and every once in a while you'll run into a car dealer that will know about the UCC, and when someone buys something from them on credit, they will do a UCC on them. Now, just the other day, a fella called me, and he says, I have a problem. I have my ex-wife's attorney wants me to sign as a debtor on a UCC. I said, are you interested in suicide? Here is now an attorney to guarantee or create a security interest in a divorce case. Now an attorney is coming to the ex and saying, you have to sign this financing statement or we're going to have you held in contempt of court. Now, how strong is the UCC? Now, it works the other way too. If you're know someone who's getting divorced and they want to protect their property, I don't know, I would probably do a UCC. Then again, I might run out and get me a trust and move my property into that trust so I could go to jail for fraudulent conveyance. Which would you do? I would probably pick the UCC because I can take and grant a security interest to my best friend for something he's helped me with in all my property, and nobody can go anywhere with it without paying him. And I don't know if it's 100 million or so, guy could come out ahead. Okay? I mean, the only protection, remember when we first talked about, you have to act as an individual. The only power you have is in your own name as an individual. You have an unlimited capacity to contract. You have unlimited liability. Well, a lot of people say, well, I don't want to have unlimited liability. I'll take unlimited liability any day. Okay? What is a corporation? What is a corporation structured for? To limit liability. What is that noise? There's something rattling back here. I don't know what it is. It's one of the bugs. Could you guys clean up your equipment? That's what I tell them on the phone all the time. Look, I don't mind if you listen in, but could you make the equipment work properly? There's nothing more irritating than have your phone tapped and be able to hear the conversation in the third party. Come on, guys. So, when you have a corporation, you're limiting liability. Well, that's what everybody wants. Well, I prefer to have the protection of my own name Because in the protection of my own name, with the UCC, I can do anything I want to do. When they bring an action against me, guess what? They don't exist. How can a fiction bring something against me? I can kill a lawsuit with 2 pieces of paper. Right in the civil procedure. It's called Rule 9A. Capacity. It says right in there, you don't exist. And if you're going to say you do, you have to prove it. When I've got this court case right here, and I say the United States of America doesn't exist, and I say this person here doesn't exist, and I go on through the list and I say you don't exist, now what? I do so by affidavit. How does the affidavit have to be rebutted?
Point by point.
With another affidavit, point by point. So they got to now bring forth the proof. Bring forth this entity. Okay? I'll take my own name any day. Bring it on. You got to know who you are, what you are, and where you are. Then all these other things go away. Okay? If you're out there operating in an entity called such and such incorporated, how can you say it doesn't exist? You've got it registered at the Secretary of State. Let me tell you one step further how this works. I got 2 friends in jail. They're arrested, they're hauled off, and they're sitting there waiting to be transferred to a federal facility. And so I put together a habeas corpus. And I go to the Secretary of State of the state of Idaho, and I pay $10 for each certificate. And each certificate comes back and has a seal on it like this, says Secretary of State, and it's in real nice blue certificate paper, costs $10, and it says that the entity that I named there, the person's name, doesn't exist anywhere in the state of Idaho. Yet that's who the arrest warrant's for. So I put that in there as evidence, and I made it appear in the court as evidence. I had 4 of them. I put their name in all caps, and I put their name with ink after it. And I got 4 certificates signed by the Secretary of State that says this entity does not exist anywhere in the state of Idaho. Well, how can there be an arrest warrant for something that doesn't exist? When I put that in, they were gone the next day. Not out of jail. They were gone. They moved them. I know a guy that's still in jail, has been moved ahead of 6 habeas corpuses. The moment that habeas hits, he's gone somewhere else. How can you have a hearing if no one's there? That's what it is. If the person that you put the habeas corpus in isn't there, how can you have a hearing? So what they do is, I had one friend sitting in the county jail for 3 weeks. Habeas corpus hearing scheduled for 9 o'clock Friday morning. 5:30 in the morning, he's gone. It's time to go. You got a chance of getting out of jail. You're out of here. That's what they did to my friends. They didn't wait 3 weeks. It was wham right now. You know why? Because I hit the bullseye right in the middle. They didn't exist. I had a certificate from the Secretary of State that says this entity, this person doesn't exist. And yet I got an arrest warrant that says this person's to be arrested. They're holding the real man for this straw man. And I put in that information to get out the real man because the straw man didn't exist. They're holding substance, us, time, labor, and energy, for a fiction.